full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars Retrograde. To be honest, I'm not necessarily looking forward to this energy. There's a lot of overexertion with little to no results. There's a bunch of changes in commerce and the economy as we see it. And I think the most integral part of it is that it's going to feel a lot like a Mercury retrograde. This full moon in Gemini is going to be happening at 16 degrees, which is the degree of Cancer. So a lot of the emotions that we're going to be displaying and moving through will have to do with those who are closest to us. My biggest advice before we get into anything else is don't take yourself too seriously. And if you're someone that has a hustle mentality, it's going to be a bit more difficult to get off the ground with this. Keep in mind the full moon is still going to be in Gemini, so there's going to be a lot of conversations and communications that are going to be correct and a lot of communications that are going to be misguided or incorrect. And it all falling on ears not willing to hear it. Not to say that you should stop whatever message you have to put out, but it is to say that it's time to try and take things as slowly as you can. Let's talk about the moon specifically being in Gemini for a moment. People that have moon in Gemini are a very cerebral person as they keep a lot of emotions tied to how they think. Plus with the sun being in Sagittarius, this is seeing and viewing your emotional pool and honestly not even feeling comfortable expressing it. And this could lead to certain implosions or explosions of emotion that can even be uncharacteristic for people. What this also means is that there may be a hard conversation, but this doesn't mean that you should go out and pick any fights with anyone either. Once more, with this moon being here, conjunct Mars retrograde, there's a bunch of rearrangement in how you want to bring information to light. Is there something that you need to say when it comes to something? Have you been communicating the right way? The full moon in Gemini is also going to be trine to Saturn in Aquarius. In being the most honest with yourself over this full moon phase, the easier you're going to be able to solidify towards your truth, including things you didn't even know that you desired prior. If there's an opportunity to get work done within this time frame that won't overexert you and allow you to practice discipline in your energy, then I would say go for it. This is not the full moon to run a marathon. This is not the full moon to try and do the most. This is not a full moon to try to overexert your power or what you think. Take this full moon more as an observer of how people go about their daily lives versus trying to force the way that you think onto other people. With the sun making a trine over to Chiron, there's a bit of an identity crisis as a lot of people are beginning to see a lot of the core elements of who they actually are. And a lot of us aren't just our ideal selves. We are also our shadow, which brings to the point of duality underneath this full moon in Gemini. There is light, there is dark, there is order, there is chaos. All of these things exist at the same time. And full moons are proof of that every month as we release those tensions, allowing ourselves the room to make more energy for when we are ready and capable, which is during the new moon. If you've been enjoying this thus far, please make sure to check out my website. I have a holiday sale going on. If you want a reading for yourself, for a loved one, for a family member, for your dog, for your cat, for your grand aunt niece, or something like that, or whatever it ends up being, I would highly recommend the Destiny reading to anyone who wants a straightforward look at what they're going to be able to achieve in their lifetime through their energy signatures. This full moon in Gemini is also making a square over to Neptune. If people are being delusional or they seem like they are, it's because they actually might be. Not to say to dismiss anyone who may be living in this space, as they can be channeling very integral information to you, but it's going to feel a little bit harder to believe in yourself in some capacities. Because what this full moon is trying to show us is how important our communication communication and effective communication of the things that we feel, think, and dream and strive for. My advice for the collective during this full moon in Gemini: spend some time reminding yourself what you stand for. With the sun in philosophical Sagittarius, our minds will be in wonder trying to figure out ourselves, because only in this understanding of self can we understand everyone else around us. More so than that, the only way we're going to learn is if we communicate with people that know different things than we do. I wouldn't do any manifestations underneath this full moon at all, because there still is an element of chaos and a little bit of surprise that's going to be bridging people into deeper truths and understandings. Be careful with travel and communications. Don't try to go too fast. Mars in retrograde is going to be at a height during this full moon. If you don't have the energy to do it, it's okay as well. This is a release after this eclipse season for the first time, so there's a lot of things that need to be said and brought to the forefront of conversation. In honor of this Mars retrograde in Gemini and Gemini full moon, I too am going to be taking my time making sure to deliver the best information to y'all on astrology, spirituality, and also showing a greater part to my creative side moving forward, heading into Sag season. It's your boy's birthday next week, so if you want to show some love, make sure you get a reading for somebody. Leave a like, subscribe a little bit, watch a few videos, let's have a good time. And I would highly recommend the Guide to 2023 guide, where I take and dissect your chart piece by piece throughout the year and tell you the most important transits, what you need to look out for, and where you're going to be able to make the most advantage of your energy. Please make sure to check those out. The link's going to be in the description, no matter where you're watching this. Nah, but for real, this Sag season has been dumb heavy for some reason, and I'm waiting for it to definitely get into this deeper optimism and closer wisdom to the heart, because that's what it's all about. Much love as always, and until next time, have a great one.